Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about a training plan where we are weighing a vulture. And this is a turkey vulture who's about like almost 15 years old. She's an imprint, and I'm going to let this play out a little bit while I'm talking because I'm going to get to the part where you can see the problem behavior. So this is a newer trainer to her. She's only been around for a couple of months at this point. So she's already established a good crating behavior, as you can see. But this is just kind of an establishment video. She's already been doing it a few times, the weighing, and you're gonna just see kind of some of the issues in just a few minutes here, or just a few seconds, I should say, some of the issues that we've been seeing. Now, there's a couple of different ways. There's always a few different ways that you can do this, what we call the right way, right? So there's always many different scenarios in which you can train the way that you want to train. And I'm going to show you first kind of how we have historically trained it. Trained away the problem behavior, and then I'm going to show you the way that I've landed on in a lot of different behaviors when we see a problem behavior inside of the behavior that we want. And I'm getting to it. You're going to see it pretty quickly, and especially if you know turkey vultures, you probably are familiar. So this is a flat scale. It's a 5-gram scale, so it weighs in increments of 5, and she's got some love on her. And so we put turf on that, obviously, to create a non-slippery surface, which can make the scale pretty negative. So again, with imprint turkey vultures, you have a lot of pulling, tearing, ripping behaviors, especially at the legs and ankles. So she is a protected contact, and she's holding pretty well, right? So we like that, but we're going to see kind of some issues. There we go. We start to see the problem start to begin right here. So this happens, with a lot of species. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So this can happen with turkey vultures. It can happen with a lot of different birds. Corvids are a big one that we see where they start, pulling and tearing at the scale itself. And it doesn't even really matter what the scale looks like. I even have a video with our black-throated magpie jay that has a T-perch, scale. And it's got, it could not, especially with the corvid, doesn't even matter if it has turf on that. But when we see, them start to get fed on the scale quite a bit, then they have that really kind of pulling and tearing at the scale. So there's a few different ways that we can work on this behavior. And I'm going to show you kind of what I used to do as nearly as just a few months ago. And now we're going to talk about what I do now. Okay, so this is a full 2 months later. I'm also going to let this one play out in just a minute. But before I do that, I just want to say I did speed this up, and I think it helps because you'll hear just my rapid fire bridging and having her reinforce. We did this the more traditional way, right? So we're trying to reinforce and bridge for the behavior that we're looking for, the beak position up off of the scale. And so you're really going to see that. So I'm going to let this kind of play a little bit beforehand. The bird is in the crate right now. The vulture is in the crate. And so Noelle is just kind of getting prepped, getting food in her hand so that she can quickly reinforce the behavior that we're looking for, i.e. the good behavior, the positive, all the calm behavior on the scale. And if you know vultures,
Okay.
any size,
Good.
They are quick.
Okay, good. Don't even worry about the number. Good. 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 Now ask her to hop off.
Right,
Just
so we're
drop it
keeping
into
that window really short, but
Yeah, now back on.
I'll get to it in
Okay,
just
that's
a
fine
minute.
too.
So this is where we can, we're increasing those degrees of freedom. The bird can do many different behaviors in this little span of what we're looking for. She can crate if she wants to. Anything that we can do to just kind of increase the value of not being necessarily on the scale at this point, which is good because that will come into play in just a moment. But you can see all that rapid food delivery does still have an impact. And of course, we still need certain high value food on, for this behavior. And you can see also the scale has taken a bit of wear and tear.
Good. And then crater. Oh boy.
So this is the behavior, this is the beginning of sort of the plan that we're starting to see. This is exactly what some of the problem that we're having and why I decided to change my tack.
Yes, good.
And there we go. All right. So that was 2 months later, a lot of cleaning up of the behavior, but we're still seeing issues. And it wasn't like we tried this every single day. Obviously, we do have other trainers that weigh the bird, and we don't weigh necessarily every day. We're just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. But we do need to have a solid foundation of different behaviors that the bird will offer without just like grabbing and lunging and all of those things. So those do give us a good indicator. It's a good metric of how she's interacting with her different trainers. Okay, this video is jumping ahead a few steps. So what we did instead of reinforcing graduating intervals of calm on that scale, we actually developed a pattern. And that pattern was getting off the scale and getting on the scale, getting off the scale and getting on the scale. And so what we did have to do was first we reinforced getting on the scale, and then we quickly reinforced hopping off. And so we got that pattern going on. We didn't really care what the body language looked like. And just spoiler alert, I didn't put it in this particular video, but we did have just kind of a little bit of sloppiness getting off and on, but we didn't care about that. All we cared about was the pattern of reinforcing getting off of the scale. And that was just really important just to establish that base pattern. And so we got that loop going, and then we got to where we are now. So this is really well. She offered to go into the crate, so we just kind of are resetting, and we're getting things, just the reinforcers back in her hand, just getting everything set back up. And a lot of things matter in this situation. So, the position of the door, the position of the crate door, all of these different things. So she's still reinforcing on the scale at this point, but just baiting her off the scale. So you can see we're just getting this loop. I don't care too much about what the bird is weighing because we're getting just so much back and forth. So we don't care too much at this point, but you can see that loop is just all that we're worried about right here. So that is just kind of what we're going for at this particular point in time. Okay, I am not kidding when I tell you that this was the very next day. So you're going to see what this pattern actually did. So here we go. This is Dallas coming out of her crate. So she's still getting fed on the scale, which is okay right now.
When she gets back on, hold. Good. Now off. Drop. Yep. Good.
So we're still using a luring strategy, baiting
down.
strategy.
Yep. Now off. Good. Hold your fist right where as a target. Good. Off.
But now we're starting to fade it off of the scale.
Good. Now you try and bridge her, so hold as a target. Down, 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 down. So you're trying to get her her beak up where you want it, so hold it as a target. Hold it. Hold it.
So you can see she's still having so much history. She's still having so much history, and here, I'll pause it. She's still having a lot of history with that nibbling on the scale, and there might be a couple of other issues, that the trainer is learning to work through why she may not be wanting to hop off the scale, right? That door is in her way. There's a couple of other things, but she's still doing the work, so we're going to see kind of what that looks like right here.
Okay, back. There you go.
That was a nice one.
That's fine. You can reinforce that. You don't have to block her in.
Yeah. She's allowed to go in the crate if she wants to. She has multiple ways of working this session.
There you go. Good. Try again.
Now we're starting to see the topography of the behavior that we want to. So those were a couple of really good repetitions, and then she started to run out of food, but those were a couple of really good repetitions on what I like to see, right? And it was just right there at the very end, what I like to see, not having to feed, just luring her back down to the ground. So we were really starting to see some good stuff there. Okay, so this is our final video here, and this was just kind of, I don't even want to say the culmination, because everything even since this video has just kept on improving. Really calm topography of the behavior, the body language, and this trainer has done a really lovely job. But I also wanted to mention that the bird's weight, the food delivery, all of those things, they were not really manipulated over the course of this entire time. So what you are seeing with this like anxious behavior, we have not really done a lot of management. In fact, the only management that we've been doing is to make sure that she's at a healthy weight, because she can just really balloon up. And like a lot of birds that can be kind of sedentary and have some issues, a lot of birds of prey especially, we do keep an eye on her getting too heavy, because it can cause foot problems. So that's really kind of the main thing that we work on with this bird, because she doesn't do a whole lot of offsite education programs, and she doesn't free fly. So that is kind of the nuts and bolts of this particular bird. So I just wanted to kind of show what this looks like, and what, where you can take this particular looping kind of behavior and beyond, basically. So we're going to have our little setup here.
Good.
And so just immediately asking her back off. She can offer again. She can be reinforced for that too.
That target fist. Good, nice.
So we got a quick target up onto the scale.
That's fine. She can. Okay.
We weren't super quick with that target.
Lower.
Good. Nice quick target.
The target fist is where you want her beak to be. Okay. So down, down, down. Not your target fist, down. Sorry. Down, down, down. Out. Good. There you go.
I'm trying to get a better vantage here so I can see a little bit better past that 4x4. There we go.
Trying to get that same column that you just had. So where she's not like poking at the...
So you can see she's taking her time. We see, a bird that's comfortable eating slowly.
Even good. Nice. That was good. You can crater. There you go. You can leave it open. Okay, try again. Yeah. That's
so
really
we're
nice.
Seeing a bird that's not reaching up.
Okay. Gorgeous. All right, let's end it.
So when I get that behavior that I want, right? When I get that really lovely behavior, whatever it is, I want the bird to know that that's exactly what I was looking for. So then they're just going to get just everything for that, right? And so I'm not going to keep pushing it, especially early on in their sort of behavioral plan, in the training program, I'll say. So I want to make sure like, hey, that's exactly what I was looking for. Here's all the food. You get to end your working day, right? Or your working session. Like that's it. So I think that's kind of also like a really big cementing element that we can offer them, is when we get that behavior, instead of keeping and pushing it, and a lot of times will slide down because they're like, we can have, just that matching effect of bam, you did it. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be exactly, the end goal. It can just be, that was the best that I kind of expect for today. And maybe we're going to ratchet it up. She didn't get the duration exactly that I'm looking for, but she definitely had the elements of every single thing that I'm looking for. Toes really, nice on the scale, just really calm body language, head up, wings in, and everything looked good. So honestly, I'm super happy with that, and we're good to go. So as you look at the whole training arc here, you can see that the differential reinforcement problem-solving way really wasn't the traditional track that we chose for this particular situation. We we did look at it in that second video that you saw, and it actually did not lead to success here. And so what we did do is we chose the constructional approach. We reinforced a whole lot of other behaviors and we did not even look at the situation of her nibbling at the scale. So that was not something that we even looked to solve necessarily. So we reinforced hopping off the scale, we reinforced going into the crate, we did all kinds of other things that then in and of itself built up her confidence, her scenarios on the scale. So this is actually what the constructional approach looks like in practice, and you see a really different bird on that scale. So